Yeah, it goes everybody because they will continue on with the game called The Devil's Whisper. Where were we? Here. As I finished reading, I was silent for several minutes. But there was no discomfort on either side. Just a calm atmosphere. This person had just completely changed my outlook. Why did you show me this, ma'am? If I were to tell you, then I'd have to kill you. The lady let out a small laugh and looked at the wall, searching through her memories for inspiration to say something. My grandmother, she wrote this. She said that sooner or later the tradition of telling the story to children would be lost, being such an incomparably beautiful and pure story. What used to be passed down from generation to generation is now being lost, partly because of the fast-paced world we live in now. But there are also the people who want to hide this, destroyed from the public light. I'll tell you, Amelia, many people before you have found the right path because of the legend embodied in this book. But I still don't fully understand. What's my right path then, and how can I ask the Guardians of Light for help? Maybe you just need to trust yourself. Find your way, and find your way out of this labyrinth with their help. With help from them? It was too ambiguous. It could mean so many things. I could hardly imagine that there was really a connection between so many events that seemed to advance in parallel, each one without intervening in the other. Thank you very much for allowing me to see this. Oh, no worries. I really hope it might have been of some help to you. I will look into how to apply this that I learned to whatever is going on. Next scene. The librarian put away the book we had taken down from the shelf and began to turn off the few lights that were left on. What did this ancient legend have to do with everything? Evil beings? Maybe we were being victimized by a demon, just like in the legend the Guardians of the Light are my guide. No. God, that all sounded so stupid. No one would believe me if I said another word of this. There was so much information to process, so many things I had to sit down carefully and to analyze, that it just gave me a headache to think about it. By today, I had done too much research. The information I did get was very valuable, fuzzy but valuable, or at least that's what I wanted to believe. Finally, we left the library together, locking the front door. Next up, the lady said goodbye to me with a gentle handshake, and then waited for a cab to come by. Good luck, girl. I know you will solve this problem. I nodded as I watched the car drive further and further away from me. Then I went back into my own world, leaving behind the calm facet I maintained in front of the librarian. I picked up my cell phone and unlocked it, the numbers in the upper right corner catching my attention at first glance. God, look at the time. Mom is going to kill me. I was in a frenzy all afternoon, not thinking about how worried Mom and Dad would be without hearing from me at this hour. And then, when I had finally gotten ready to go home, "You're still on time." The voices returned, this time with more intensity and more resonance in my head. What? But this time, there was something different. The voices seemed to have a direction. What's an direction? Not a physical direction. Not because the sound was coming from a particular place, but because I knew where I needed to go. Come on, come here. We are waiting for you, Amelia. There she went. Without realizing it, I arrived at a little crowded street, a few blocks past the center of the city. I could feel that I was being led by the hand. The path was clear in my mind, even though I had never been through those areas. A little more, Amelia. Just a little more. I kept moving along the street, with fewer and fewer people around, to the point where I was completely alone. Some drool was draining from me, my eyesight was blurred, and my ears were hearing less and less around me, and more voices inside. I can't do my own will. My body moves on its own. This is not right. I'm in a trance that I can't get out of. Help, please, help. My God, please, you can never help me. Let it be now, please, please. I planted myself firmly, applying as much resistance with my legs as possible to prevent myself from continuing to move on mere impulse. And although it hurt at first, I gradually began to regain control of my movements. When I felt able enough to raise my I directed my hand towards my face and slapped myself. There you go. Yeah. Stop it. That's enough, goddammit, that's enough. I'm tired of feeling so disconnected from everything, not feeling part of my own world. I want an answer. What the fuck do you want? I demand it. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. You think you could show my life at your whim and your will? This is how far I've come. Enough. Please. I'm not going to listen to you. Stop it. It's a fucking order. What's that? The deafening scream of a man made me react. The sound came from a manhole that was just a few feet away from me. Manhole. It's like the butthole. I wasn't dreaming, was I? No, it was real. I'm sure it was real. I turned to my side just to confirm that the scream wasn't coming from somewhere else. But no, I was sure I heard the scream coming from the sewer. I walked slowly, taking courage with each step and trying to leave my fears behind, if only for a moment. When I arrived, the first thing I noticed was an unpleasant smell coming from the sewage and plumbing. Is someone there? My voice trembled on every word I could barely pronounce properly. I sighed and made a gesture of discomfort. I had no choice. I grabbed with both hands the manhole cover. It offered no resistance for sure, but the weight was quite a bit heavier than what I had regularly carried. Yag. It was definitely heavy, and I barely managed to move the lid a few inches from its initial position. I released my hands from the lid and shook them out of instinct. My palms were red and a little bruised. Yag. Come on, Amelia, come on. Yeah. There you go. After an effort that left me dizzy and breathing heavily, I managed to leave the path to the manhole open. I lay face down on the ground to get a clearer view of what was inside, trying not to think about the intense smells that added to my dizziness. Is there someone in there? Don't be afraid, I'm here to rescue you. No response to my words. On one hand, I felt quite good, as I would not have to go through the cumbersome situation of entering that unpleasant place. But at the same time, I felt bewildered and guilty that I was not able to do something helpful. As I peered into the sewer, waiting for some movement, a distinctive glow of an object in the water caught my attention. Come on! I couldn't quite make out what it was, but the glow was so intense that, as I stared at the object, it blinded me, slightly despite me being from above. I concentrated so much on contemplating the flash and deciphering where it was coming from that without realizing it, I started to slip little by little into the sewer. Oh, is this where we die? It was too late when I realized I was slipping. I tried to grab the ground with my hands, but the acceleration and the weight of my body made me fall in a couple of seconds. Yeah. Ouch. Oh, we hit the water. First thing I felt was the coldness of the water making direct contact with me. The very coldness of the water made my teeth tremble involuntarily, testing my jaw and every muscle around me. Second thing I felt was the force of the water, dragging my body violently and keeping me disoriented every second. It also smells. I flailed my arms and legs in desperation, trying to grab a hold of something, any object I could go against the current with. And third, the nauseating stench that was now permeating me. It was so much my disgust that I couldn't think of anything else, and it's not like I could think of anything else. I was trapped, with no way out, in the worst place I had ever been. I tried to hold my breath as long as I could, but after several seconds, I unconsciously swallowed water through my mouth. Ew. Without realizing it, I thought of all the waste and contamination this water must be, as if that was the biggest of my worries. My vomit reflex was triggered by disgust, changing the color of the water around me for a few seconds. I kept flailing my limbs with all my might. I didn't even know why anymore. Everything I was doing was a failed attempt to try to survive. There has to be a way out. Please, I don't want to die like this. What do we do? Like an angel sent from heaven, a man appeared in front of me, uttering the words that inexplicably traveled clear across the water. Give me your hand. In spite of my blurred vision and dirtiness of the water, I perceived the silhouette of a young man extending his hand towards me. I tried to grab his arm several times, but I was so uncoordinated that the only way to grab him was to swim towards him till I was as close as possible. Why does he come a little closer? Just at this moment, familiar voices entered my ears, this time as if I had them right next to me. Don't do it. Swim towards the stone. Stay away from the man. There was indeed a stone a few feet away from me, moving at the same speed at which the water was dragging at us. The stone was shining with the intensity of 1,000 suns, blinding my vision and slightly pushing away the man who first spoke to me. Take the stone, and you will be rewarded. Cha-ching. Save yourself, Amelia. Save yourself. Don't listen to them. Voices are deceptive. Here, take my hand. Together, we will build a better place for you. Wealth, fortune, peace of mind. You'll have everything you've dreamt of, Amelia. You only have to choose. Obey the voices and you will die. Obey me and you will be rewarded. I had no air in my lungs. I was about to become unconscious. I could swim to the man or swim to the glowing stone. Whatever I did, it would be the last thing before I lost consciousness. I had to choose wisely if I wanted to survive. Go to the man who reached out to me and promised me fulfillment, or listen to the voices that have been tormenting me for days. What should I do? I should probably say, Lord, please. There you go. I want to die. Swim to the man. In the last attempt to fight for my life, I used all my strength to reach out to the arm of the mysterious man and take his hand. I used every pleasant memory I had to take courage and keep on fighting. And indeed I did fight. I did everything I could. But the closer I got, the farther the arm was away from me. I tried again and the man moved farther away, unaffected by the force at which I was being pulled by the water. The final movement of my body, the one that would define my future, was to propel myself straight toward the man's torso, tried to hold on to him. Closed my eyes, stretched out my arms, and then closed them, only to realize that the man was no longer there. That asshole! I made a bad choice, and I was suffering the consequences. But there was still time, wasn't there? Terrible but little energy I had in my head to look for the stone, and realized it was gone. I reached out my hand to try to catch it by mere chances, but I knew the stone was no longer there. Its distinctive glow was gone. No man and no stone. Shit. It was then that my body lost all the adrenaline that up to that moment was at its peak. My fiery heart began to beat at a slower and slower rate, and I stopped holding my breath, letting the water enter freely through my nostrils. The burning of the water entering was indescribable. Any pain I'd ever felt before was incomparable. This was like feeling the hell in the flesh. Like fire being devoured by my body, burning every remnant of life that could be left inside me. I didn't even put up any resistance anymore. I was only left to contemplate the last moments of a life that ended in a very stupid way. How could I have been so foolish as to get myself into this situation? For trying to solve problems where there were none, and ignoring the torments of my daily life. For not accepting that once again the troubling nightmare disorder had returned to my life, and not having the courage to face it. Would it really end like this? All my memories, everything I'd lived through. I didn't want it to end now or this way, but everything seemed to indicate that I would. There was no prince to the rescue, no waking up from the nightmare like every night. This was the cruel and harsh reality, a reality that at first I tried to evade in exchange for a very high price, my own life. Oh well. Mom, Dad, I love you so much. I'm sorry for not being as brave as I promised I would be. Andrew, don't ever forget about me, please. I was doomed to be swept downstream in this sad, lonely sewer full of dirty water, until the last remnant of energy left my frail body. Oops. Now loading. Am I dead? Stay tuned for further updates. Forget this right review. Okay. What if I continue though? Continue. Swim to the stone. In the last attempt to fight for my life, I used all my strength to get closer to the stone that was shining in the water. I used every pleasant memory I had to take courage and keep fighting. Maybe I had made a bad choice, I couldn't know. But this was what my heart was telling me to do. And after an indescribable constant effort of trying to find my salvation, I managed to reach a stone. Closed my hand tightly, clenching the stone in my fist as hard as I could. Closed my eyes and wished for the best. This ultimately was going to save me by itself. What were you thinking, Amelia? It was just stone. It all seemed like this wasn't the right way to go. And it's just that looking at it in perspective, it's much more realistic to think that a person saw me fall and also jumped into the sewer to save me. What was a rock going to do against such an opponent? I don't know, help me sink faster? But the voices, what if the voices were the guardians of the light? What nonsense. I gradually started to become unconscious. I don't know if it was against my will or not, but I relaxed every muscle in my body, releasing all tension. I just let myself be carried away by the current of water, leaving me with at least the consolation of having reached the stone and believing that this would be my last card to survive. Little by little, the sound of the water faded more and more, each second being calmer than the last. Is this what it feels like to die, then? Deep down, I refused to believe that this was the end of me. It felt so flat, so empty, so simple for a death. And when I felt that there was nothing and no one around me anymore, I slowly opened my eyes. We're back, somehow. To my surprise, there was no heaven or hell, no God or devil. What's more, there was nothing except for me, a pile of shit all over my fucking clothes. I smell like terrible God. I was looking up at the sky, face up in the middle of the street, on the side of the manhole where I had crawled into minutes before. I looked around in confusion. It was the same landscape with no change from the way it was before. I shook my head and stopped to think seriously about what had happened. It can't be. I'm alive. I'm alive. But a sensation of weight in one of my hands made me direct my gaze to that point. I grabbed with both hands. Wait, isn't this the same resource in Corpse Body? I think so. I grabbed with both hands the object I had picked up from the water in my desperate attempt to hold onto something to survive. It was a beautiful lilac colored stone, bright as sunlight and radiant as itself. I looked at it with confusion and gentleness at the same time. I felt doing the same as holding a baby. Tenderness, affection, and the feeling that at any moment it will break even though you are unaware that it is resilient on its own. What is this? I raised one of my eyebrows in noticeable confusion. If this was what had saved my life, I should appreciate it more than anything else in the world. I held the stone close to my chest and closed my eyes. Thank you. The voices were right after all. They were like an inner cry trying to lead me to my salvation. More than a threat, they were a warning of the right path to follow. Ray. I looked around me along the streets. The man I saw under the water was nowhere visible nearby. I considered him to have just been a hallucination. I was about to pass out after all. But there had to be something real about this event. There is no possible human way that I could have forgotten. There is no possible human way that I could have gotten out of the sewer with the force I was being dragged at how tired I was to keep swimming. It had to have been the stone that rescued me, the very thing that I was able to survive and not drown. As the minutes passed, the more I realized how surreal it all was, and how unlikely my friends were to believe me. Yeah, shit, I have to explain this. I had no idea how I was going to explain to the others everything that happened today. Shit, the voices, the silhouette of the man, the guardians of the light. They're gonna think I'm all cuckoo. There were so many things I had to tell. I am sure that no one in their right mind, not even myself, would believe it if someone else told me that they went through the same thing I went through today. But today, in this moment, I was alive. Alive to face all the challenges that would come from having found pieces of information that I never should have gotten in the first place. I still had to sort through each part to make sense of it logically, or even illogically. What do I know? But I had to do it. This was nothing more than a harbinger that something very big was happening in our lives, and that there was no turning back. This was just the beginning of a life-changing story for all of us. Dun, dun, dun. Now look. Thank you for playing at Chapter 1. Stay tuned for further updates. Full game, considering donating if you want to play more games with this one. Okay, cool. So we're actually done? Huh. Interesting. Dun, dun. Yeah, it looks like we're all done with the game. Gallery? Yeah, there's some more. Yeah, this is from Corpse Party. I remember this. I can never forget dumb shit in Corpse Party. Because if it's so fucking dumb, it's really memorable. Also, that's what she looks like full body. Likes podcast, music, studying. She likes studying. I'm not related. Not relatable at all. From one word complicated. Yeah. Miscellaneous. Oh yeah, the intro. Back. Credits. Do, 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 do. Cool. So yeah, so we're done with The Devil's Whisper, Chapter 1. Interesting game. I wonder where this is going with. Like, there are Guardians of the Light. Who was that man? Probably the devil. What are the voices in my head? Are they like the not devil whisperer? Are they the Guardians of Light? Yeah, the Guardians of Light is like I don't know, man. What are you doing, guys? Like, why are you so vague and cryptic? You could tell me that no, don't do that. That's the devil. These guys, they're doing the vague thing of being vague and shit. Like, oh, you guys. Anyway, so this is the Devil's Whisper. God damn it! I remember when I updated the game and my save didn't work. Like, why? Why is it that RPG Maker games in visual novels don't I don't know, man, are not able to reuse the same save file that I did before. Such a weird. But anyway, if you want to try the game for yourselves, this is the Devil's Whisper. The links are in the description. That is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.